Hello and welcome to Sheepdog Says. I'm Sheepdog and today I've got a little rant to go through linked to my Persimmon home one from the other day, the leasehold scandal. There's a couple of other bits I want to moan about as well, to be honest. Mainly the reason I want to moan about Persimmons is that, as I mentioned previously, I have a house from them that they basically forced us to buy as leasehold rather than letting us buy it as freehold. By force, I mean they lied about it. They told us that that's how you buy new houses. They told us that we couldn't buy a new house anywhere without it being a leasehold. And they basically then, when I've gone to buy the freehold, offered me it for £8,500 more than they'd quoted. They quoted me £500 at sale. They also told me I would own the freehold, and then they've offered me what's been dubbed fleecehold by lots of people on the internet. What that basically, the difference between the two is, as a freeholder, I would be free to do what I want with the property and the land that the property is on, and I would be able to change the house as and when I want. As a fleeceholder, I would have to pay Persimmon Homes to change things, to, I don't know, convert my garage into a room. I have to pay them maintenance and ground rent every year for them to basically do nothing. I would flip the camera around and just show you the massive lump of dirt that's outside my house where they've not looked after it and they've not done what they're supposed to do. They generally just don't do what they're supposed to do. I will try and turn the camera around quickly. It's not the most professional, but I'll edit this afterwards. Hopefully you saw that. If not, never mind. But anyway, I've been trying to get this sorted out for a year and a half now, and for the past 2 months they've just been ignoring me. I emailed them about a month ago and said, I haven't heard from you in weeks now, what's going on, can you get back to me please? I got an email saying, sorry, I've just been out of office, I'll reply later today. I've not had anything since. It's been about 3 weeks. I keep emailing and nothing's happening. Now, I'm used to bad and good public customer service depending on where I shop and that kind of thing, and usually you can just vote with your feet. I'm definitely certain I won't be buying another Persimmon Homes, but where I work, if I acted the way they act to their customers, my bosses would have just slung me out the window about 2 years ago. It probably looked further back than that even. I forget how long I've been there, but basically, these people, they're just arrogant, they're rude, they're lazy, they don't respond, they're not making any effort to help, and they're fobbing me off constantly. If I told the amount of lies that they'd told, I wouldn't be able to look anyone in the eye in my industry. They wouldn't let me work in the industry. I work in cybersecurity. Reputations stick, and if I acted the way they act, I'd be ruined. Now, I just can't get my head around it, how companies can exist and be this well off and run like this and treat their customers so badly. I have a problem with my bank, Halifax, who, again, have been winding me up. And I mentioned previously I had another rant teed up that I wanted to do. And I can't get quite as emotive about it because I feel like it's my own fault for just falling into the slippery trap. But I also want people watching to know just how bad banks can get. When I was a student, I basically took out a student overdraft. I think it was actually when I was a student, when I was a student nurse. My bursary was late and I had to take a student overdraft to cover my bills. Halifax offered a good rate. So I thought, great, I'll leap in there. It was basically going to be 0% until such time that I graduated plus a few years. I had a weird scenario where I ended up getting 0% for a long time because basically I was a student for a bit. I then had the couple of years grace period. And then when I asked for it again, I said, I've just started being a student again. And they said, oh, don't worry about it, which is great. I thought, oh, awesome, okay, that's helpful. Once I graduated a few years later, they said to me, right, okay, now you have to start paying interest. And I was like, that's fine, guys. I've had this for a long time. I completely understand. And that was just the norm. I'd be paying my interest every month, job done, never missed a payment, all good. They suddenly then changed their policy, and their options were pay it all back, which was like a couple of £1,000, couldn't afford it, or pay their new system where it was basically a set fee. I'd owe them, I think it was £15 a month, plus they were upgrading me to an ultimate account, which meant for £10 a month, I basically got like my, like roadside assistance, my phone insurance, my travel insurance worldwide. So it sounded good. Again, I thought it's not ideal. I'm paying ever so slightly more now than I used to, but it's okay, I can budget it every month. And that was the way it was for years. They creeped up the amount a little bit here and there, adding a quid in here and there and that kind of thing. But I've never really got to a position where I could just go, right, here's a few grand, I've paid it off. And then about 6 months ago, they've come out with probably the worst campaign I've ever seen a financial place do. And I'm trying to fix the situation for myself, but I don't understand. It takes a next level version of evil to do what they've done. They basically sent letters out saying, great news, we're going to help you with your overdraft. And when you look at it, they're not helping you at all. They're just sticking the boot in so hard, and there's nothing that someone like I can really do about it unless I just happen to have a really good, month paying things off and that kind of thing, and that is a possibility, but I've been reading into it, and there are people in worse positions again who are just screwed about this. So they might have much bigger overdrafts than I do and that kind of thing. Now, the situation they've got us into is, rather than just charging us an end of the month fee of whatever, which even if they said to me, right, we're going to put it up to 30 quid or whatever, I'd have been like, it's not ideal that you put it up, but it's still, it's rubbish, but okay. What they're doing now instead is they're charging a daily rate depending on how much you owe them. So if someone has a massive overdraft, which they're massively in debt over, they're adding to that debt by £3, £4, £5 a day. For someone like me, it's something like £1.90 a day that they charge me. So I get paid at the start of the month, and the second I go over a certain point, they start charging me between £1 and I think £3 is the maximum they can charge me. And the more poor I become over the month, the more they will charge me. And then if I don't get paid in time, they'll just start fining me. And so say I had a really bad month or something awful happened and I was skint or whatever, they would straight away start charging me £2 on top of whatever debt I'm in, and they'd just be adding that to the debt. But then they'd also be going, right, that's £25 for going over, that's £50, that's £10 admin fee, whatever. And it will just spiral and spiral and spiral, and then they'll say, you owe us all this money, you're a monster, pay us back. I rang them up and spoke to them and said, that just seems like a horrific way to do it. I said, I think I'll be okay because I think I can probably work it out and pay it off and it'll all be all right. And I'm working on that at the moment. This isn't me crying, oh, woe is me, I've not got any money. I know, I'm fully aware that 3 videos ago I was talking about a holiday I want to go on with my family. I balance my situation. But the thing that's vile about it is that when I first got the letters through, I went online to look into this. And apparently every letter has a different little symbol on it. And depending on what symbol you got, depends on what the bank think of you as a customer. And so I think mine was quite middle of the range. It was like, screw him, he'll pay it back, leave him be, And I was furious that they were just expecting me to pay this daily fee. I said to them, well, just stick it on at the end of the month. I'll pay it, it's fine. At the moment, it messes with my finances. But they had other people where they were like, oh, they're just a joke. They're just going to get rinsed. And the idea is that those people are stuck in this spiral, and every day they're just going to see themselves get slightly more in debt. I worked out that if I had the worst possible scenario in a month, they would be charging me something like 120 quid compared to the £20 they were charging me 6 months ago. But somebody worse off than me could end up seeing their debt rise by like £200-300. I rang someone at Halifax about this, and it was I wish I'd recorded the call, because basically when I called him, I was angry, I had a go at him, and he basically said, well, I'm sorry to hear that you don't like our changes. We've had a lot of good feedback. And I said, don't lie. And he said, what do you mean don't lie? I said, well, who on earth is ringing you up going, yeah, that decision to charge me £2 a day, that's a really good call. I appreciate it. Thank you. It's not coming off your overdraft. They're not making you pay £2 a day off of your overdraft so that you get in less debt. They're just taking £2 a day off of you. And he's like, no, we have had good feedback. And I said, look, I get that you work for the bank. I get that you can't say negative things to your customers, but don't lie to me. Don't try and just, tell me that everything's great and you're an awesome company. You know that you're just doing this to claw money off people that are in debt. And he doesn't respond in any way other than, oh, sir, if you're going to talk to me like that, I'm going to have to cut you off. I said, I didn't swear at you. I didn't threaten you. I didn't have a go at you. I said, don't lie. And he said, yes, but if you accuse me of lying again, sir, I'm going to have to cut you off. And I said, well, don't tell me lies then. And he hung up. So I rang back, and it's one of those irritating scenarios where you end up getting the same person. I said, put me through to your manager. I had a chat with his manager, and I said, look, I'm not threatening anyone here. I basically said to the guy, stop telling me lies. And she did the same thing. No, the people are happy. People are appreciative of the way we're handling this. I'm like, I said to him, find me one person in the world who agrees with you that charging them a daily fee for having an overdraft is a good thing. They claim that it allows us to be more in control of our money because then we can say, right, I'm going to pay it all off and I'm going to not use it and then I'm not going to have to pay a fee. But if you don't have an overdraft, you don't pay anything at all ever. That's always how it's worked. There is no way. I felt like I was in an alternate reality. I felt like everyone else maybe got this in some way that I didn't, but I'm certain that's not the case. I'd come off the call thinking, is that their strategy? They're just going to talk at people and tell them they don't get it because they're not a big bank. When the only scenario is, instead of you paying the £10 a month fee or whatever it was, they're now just going to rinse you for hundreds. You know, I was trying to explain this to them again and again, and they were just sat there acting dumb and pretending they didn't know what I was on about. And this is what Persimmons do. They act dumb and they pretend they don't know what they're doing, and they pretend that there's a mistake or that it takes ages to... They say to me, oh, you're going to have to wait while we go to do this. And what makes it worse is if you're not happy and you push back, they say to you, well, if you're really not happy, then you can go to the ombudsman, sir. They'll help you out. And you go to the banking ombudsman or the housing ombudsman, and they don't do anything. What they're doing... the way they make their living, the way they are in existence, is they take money from the housing industry or the banking industry, and then they nominate people that are prominent and well known or well educated in that area, people who understand housing and banking, and they put those people in charge. And then those people run the ombudsman and they say, oh, well, we reviewed what Halifax is doing and we don't think it's immoral for them to charge people £2 a day when they're already massively in debt. We don't think it's immoral for them to take the £20 a month you were paying and for no reason make that £80 a month or whatever. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's in their terms and conditions that they can change it when they want. They've always said that. When you took it out, you agreed that if they wanted to change their fee, they could. You know, when you go to complain about Persimmons, they go, well, it's a legal thing, really. Your solicitor should have told you at the start that you were buying a leasehold and that they could change the price willy-nilly and that they could decide they were going to make you pay fees they never told you about. And they can decide that you have to ask them permission. You know, did you not understand that they're allowed to change the contract that they gave you whenever they want because they put that in there? And I'll say to these people, like, no, I'm not an expert in these things, but you're supposed to be. And all you're doing is going, yeah, we checked and it's all good. We are perfectly fine with these being scummy people and with them ripping people off. I don't understand how the government allows that to exist. The government put up these ombudsmen and these other think tanks and whatever, and they give them a thumbs up and they say, you go and regulate yourselves. I mean, the press has their own regulation, you know, media has its own regulation. There's all these weird Ofcom exists as a regulation. They're all just toothless nonsense that... Oh, I just don't get it. I do get it. I get exactly what it is. Sorry, I don't get how it's allowed to happen and nobody's stopped it. But I get that what's happened is the bloke who owns, like, Persimmons is probably good mates. He's probably supported, patting him on the back. You go and be the head of that ombudsman. I see you at golf on Tuesday. I see you on the yacht that I probably bought you out of my £110 million bonus. You know, I'll help you with, you know, naming your kid. I'll be his godfather. All of these things. And then when it comes down to it and I'm complaining because they've tried to screw me over and tried to charge me nine grand for a £500 freehold that they should have given me for free because there was no need for them to take it, he goes, oh, slap on the hand for you. I'll go back and I'll make some rule that he has to go and only pay £3 grand. That's the situation I'm kind of in at the moment. If I go and complain, they're going to go and force Persimmon to charge me more than they've already agreed to charge me, or they're going to force Persimmon to give me a worse contract than I've already got. So I have to fight it on my own, and I have to learn it on my own. And then at the moment, I'm having to tell my neighbours about it because they don't know what they're doing. They've not spent 18 months doing it. We're all in this mess. The only reason I know what I'm doing is because there's the National Leasehold Scandal group, campaign group, so I keep calling it the wrong name. I only know about it from going on places like Money Saving Expert, where they've not been any help with Halifax. There's been loads of people like me in there talking about the fact that Halifax have just changed their policy. We've all been just told, pay off your debt then. And it's like, well, it's not that easy. If I could just pay it off like that, I wouldn't have it in the first place. All I'm expecting is that you don't just move the goalposts so far apart that it becomes unsustainable. They've even said to me, well, if you just want to declare like that you can't do it, we'll put it on your record and you won't be able to take out new loans or debt or whatever for the next 5 years because it'll have a black mark on there and it'll affect your credit rating. And I'm thinking, well, I don't want to affect my credit rating. My credit rating is all right. It's just at the moment, I feel like you're making me pay through the nose to maintain that rather than admit that you've put me in a corner you didn't have to put me in, and you've made life hard for no reason. I mean, these companies are just awful, and I wish there was something better that I could do other than just moan about it on the internet and join groups. There should be a proper, like, I can't think of the right word, a proper ombudsman, really, an ombudsman for the ombudsman that just says, do your job. You know, these don't work. It's not good enough. Something needs to change. It's ridiculous. I want to end on a positive note. I did have some really good customer service yesterday. I went to sort out my wife's new car, and bearing in mind I went there a year ago, and I've not been back since, and I've not had any interactions with them. I walked in the door, sat down to talk to this fella, and the guy who served me last year went, I know you. I sold you the exact car make. How you doing, Richard? Mentioned the music that we both shared an interest in, and then just went about his business. And I'm sat there thinking, I remember the guy's face because I'm one person. He's one person who served me, whereas I'm like one of many customers. This is quite a busy, major place in Peterborough. He remembered me, and I thought that's pretty cool. That's good customer service. He made the effort. He's going to ring me back tomorrow, I think, with some details for a car. That was TC Harrison's Ford in Peterborough, and I think customers should be treated like that all the time. As I mentioned before, if my bosses heard that I wasn't treating my customers like that, they would just jettison me, and that's how Persimmon should be and Halifax should be. Going through to that Halifax boss who just backed up her employee and completely mugged me off with lies, that's not good enough. I mean, I don't expect bosses to ship their staff out and side with the customer every time. That's another problem. But no, well done, Ford. I'm well happy with your reseller there, that they've done a good job, and I doubt they'll ever see it, and Ford will never see it, but you know where I'm coming from. That was good, and that's what I want to see. I'm sick of Halifax, though. The moment I've got enough money to get away from them as a lender, I'm not saving with them. I don't see how that's a good business practice on their part to alienate people. All I needed to do was get over that little lump of debt that I owe them, and then I'd have been fine. I could have banked with them forever, but they've just burned it now. I'm not buying another Persimmon home. I'll probably just go second-hand house next time. I feel like anyone watching should just avoid them forever, even if they change their ways. They've burnt me now. Do not buy a new build house from someone like them. I'm going to end it there. Thanks for watching. Again, sorry for the rant for people that don't like that. I know some people enjoyed it. If you do like what you see, check out some more of my videos. I put the little box down the side that shows previous videos, which ones I think you might like and that kind of thing. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, because basically I'm trying to get to 1,000 by the middle of June. At the moment, I'm very close to 200. If you can help me get over that line, that'd be great. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.